Jian is the hero who went to another world and defeated the Demon King. Actually, he was summoned by a goddess so that he could save her destroyed world. Now that he has finished his work, the goddess is ready to send him back to his original world. The craziest thing is that he spent 20 years in this world, but not even a second had passed in his real world. That means when he returns, he will go back to the same moment when he was summoned. But the twist is that as soon as he goes back, all his memories of the last 20 years will be erased. But it is not like the goddess is sending him without a reward. Before leaving, she gives him a fragment of godly power. Although she does not tell much about it clearly, she just utters some mystical jargon and then, without explaining anything, pushes him straight back into his old world. As soon as Jian returns, he does not remember anything and thinks it is just a normal day. He checks his phone and sees dozens of missed calls and messages from his manager. He runs on the roads as if his life is at stake. Soon, he confronts his angry manager, who is furious at his lateness. Jian has nothing to say. He just bows his head and listens to the scoldings. Then he returns to his boring corporate job again, completely in disrepair like another slave system. This job is not solving his life's problems at all, especially when the rent is also getting late. He now needs to hold down multiple part-time jobs to make ends meet. I wish he had awakened a little earlier. Then, as per the script, a system window flashes in front of him, and he unlocks a unique trait, which is called Skill Master, and it is EX rank. Now, we learned about this world. Awakened people like Jian are called users. In the last 5 years, augmented reality, as if emerging from a fantasy novel, has taken over the entire world. Fields are starting to pop up everywhere on Earth, and the world is now running on the resources obtained from them. Users have the power to explore and conserve these fields. Even small tasks in these fields can provide enough money to enable a person to live comfortably. That's why everyone wants to become a professional user. Yes, this is a risky life, but the rewards are quite tempting. There is more sweetness hidden than danger. But not everyone reaches the top. Some users get top-tier unique traits right from the start. The luck of others is not so strong. Mohammed Al is at the top of this world of users, the world's #1 ranked user. He is the first person to touch level 70 and has the SS grade unique trait Dragon Speech. One day, Mohammed Al uploaded a video on his official YouTube channel. The title was so interesting that people were drawn towards it. What was shown in the video was such a power that no one could take their eyes off it. This magic is every magician's dream. Those who read fantasy novels recognized it immediately. Meteor rain, a devastating spell that can wipe out lives in seconds. Whoever was watching was stunned. No one thought that such magic could be seen in real life. The field that Muhammad destroyed was A grade, and even at level 70, it would have been impossible to clear it alone. But those meteors destroyed everything, even monsters that could destroy a city. But the biggest surprise was found at the end of the video, when Muhammad threw an open challenge to all users. He said that whoever demonstrated more spectacular magic would receive the Elemental Ring, a rare artifact. This ring is the only SS grade artifact that is publicly known, and it is every user's ultimate dream. 2 users were talking about this challenge in a cafe area. They felt Mohammed had set the bar too high. No one can cross it. The girl was directly saying that this whole challenge was a trap. Who would have an SS grade trait? And even if he had, it would be impossible to get the ring unless Muhammad himself accepted that power. As was clear, given the high bar Muhammad had set, he had no intention of giving away the ring. This was just a flex. His challenge video spread like wildfire and became the hottest topic on every news channel. Muhammad's challenge seemed like an impossible mission that no one could match. Then comes our guy, Jian. As soon as Jian reached the field, he just snapped his fingers in a cool manner, and meteors started raining down from the sky. Everything turned into fire. That meteor shower was so destructive that literally everything was wiped out. After causing so much destruction, Jian just gave a thumbs up, a silent thank you to Muhammad Al, who had shown him such an amazing skill. The onlookers were completely shocked. Keyboard warriors from across the country descended upon the comments section, reacting to Muhammad's tragic defeat. And there was just one question on everyone's mind. Who is this guy? Now, a little more into the world of lower time awakening and unique traits. When a user awakens, they usually receive a unique trait. Unique traits actually boost the efficiency of a particular skill, like choosing a class in a game. Some of the famous unique traits that have been discovered by the world so far include dragon speech, which makes a mage more powerful than a dragon; miracle, which gives the power of healing, even allowing the dead to be brought back to life; regeneration, which turns someone into a tank that can even regrow limbs; lethal strike, which turns the user into a warrior capable of finishing off any enemy. But the twist is, there is no trait named Skillmaster mentioned anywhere that Jian has found. When he took a deep dive through the internet, he found almost nothing about this trait. The first thing that is looked at while evaluating unique traits is its grade. Generally, the higher the grade, the better the effects and the more subtraits it provides. Grades range from F to SS. When Juyan checked his trait, it was marked as unknown X grade. Then he checked his stats, and frankly, he was quite underwhelmed. Naturally, he was disappointed. Stat boosts are expected from a high-grade trait, so why were his stats so low? Hardly anyone ever gets such weak stats with such a high-grade trait. He looked at all his traits. Till now, there were only 2, another disappointment. He had hoped there would be more. At this point, Juyan was simply confused. There was no solid data on his trait. But soon, clarity arrived. The next system prompt gave him a tutorial quest: copy a skill. If he activated this skill, he would get DVC SP. But there was a catch. The copied skill would be automatically deleted at midnight. This quest panel was already quite unexpected, but what shocked him even more was that in order to copy someone's skill, he would have to go out into the field and watch other users in action. Given his poor stats, that seemed like a straight-up suicide mission. Still, he didn't have many options. He had to find a skill and complete the quest. Then, an idea clicked in his mind. He remembered Muhammad Al and his famous meteor rain video. As he watched the broadcast, the system started showing him all the details of that skill. And when the system gave him the option to copy the skill, Ju Yun was stunned. He had never imagined that he could copy a skill just by watching a video, without even stepping out of his house. And just like that, Ju Yun cleared the open challenge and instantly became the headline of all the news channels. When Mohammed saw Juyan's face in the news, he simply smiled. However, his secretary doubted whether it would be right to give the elemental ring to someone like him. But Mohammed wasn't even thinking much about the ring. What really interested him was that the skills he had learned a few weeks ago were now being used by someone else. The secretary argued that there were more such skills within the meteor rain range. But Mohammed stressed that this could not be a mere coincidence, because the skill Juyun had just learned was not only SS grade, but it was the exact same skill, even down to the name. The secretary was still not convinced. He pointed out that no one had yet verified whether the skill was truly SS grade. It was possible that this was all just a well-staged power show. But his words did not change Mohammed's mind. He was pretty sure the skill was at least SS grade, with a unique trait on top. Sometime later, we see our guy watching his own uploaded video again and again in a loop, as if it had become his new religion. The video had gone viral, and he was completely lost in his own hype. He was practically drunk on his fame. At the same time, a little girl sitting at the counter was yearning for his attention. But our man was so zoned out that he didn't even notice her. Ultimately, his father's patience ran out. The man was clearly pissed that this particular cashier was sitting idle without doing any work. After dealing with the customers, Juyan sat down heavily on his chair and let out a long, defeated sigh. It seemed like he had won the challenge, but didn't receive any reward for it. SS-grade items were still a far cry. Until a few days ago, he had been a nobody, useless, invisible, incapable of doing anything. But ever since he awakened his traits, he had started to gain some self-confidence. He wished he could earn enough money to live a comfortable life. Perhaps he could even become as strong as Muhammad Al and bathe in the public's accolades. He was still daydreaming when suddenly a notification jolted him. It was a comment. Muhammad Al himself had written below his video. The legend himself promised that Ju Yun would get the true reward for his victory. The internet went absolutely crazy. The big cheese had finally thrown down the card, and everyone went boom. Even Juyan himself couldn't believe it. Cut to the next scene. Our guy is sitting stiffly next to the secretary in a luxury car. His face had the same old expression, half shock, half, what the hell is my life? After returning home, Juyan kept looking at the ring. He still couldn't understand if it was a dream or just a glitch in the system. Then, the system displayed the stats of the ring, and it was perfectly stacked. Every single stat was insanely high, like loot box levels. Only then did Juyan regain his focus. Now was not the time to sit around like a mute. This ring gave him a real chance to train in the fields. But there was a problem. He didn't even have the money to buy proper armor. The revenue generated from the viral video couldn't be withdrawn until he verified his identity, and he didn't want to do that. So he sat down and started thinking. He found a loophole. Rather than risk his own life, he would start emergency healing services outside the fields. Healing was a lucrative business anyway. Lakhs of rupees could be earned just by patching people up at the entrance. Those arrogant hunters who always made fun of healers didn't even dare to go in without one. Juyan had copied a C-grade healing skill that could heal fractures, amputations, and F-grade status ailments. Fractures earned 20,000 won, severed limbs brought in 500,000 won, and curing status ailments fetched 700,000 won. Not bad for a day's earnings. The next morning, Juyan set up camp outside the D-rank swamp field near Seoul Grand Park. He didn't choose the low-tier spot on purpose. All the other prime locations were already booked. There was no customer, so he got bored and started scrolling through his phone, thinking that next time he would bring something interesting to pass his time. At least there's no fear of being crushed by monsters here. This is a safe zone, or so he was thinking, when suddenly a man came running towards him like a storm. In his arms was a badly injured woman. That man was so terrifying, like a storm in human form. Juyan completely froze. He even forgot to breathe. The man roared in anger, "Heal it!" But Juyan didn't like his tone at all. To him, it felt just like those entitled customers who thought they were kings at the convenience store. Even though this healing skill wasn't his original, it was a pretty solid option at C grade. There was no way he'd waste it on some random person who couldn't even request it properly. Juyan was about to explode when that man threw a thick stack of 200 won in front of him. Juyan immediately shifted into customer service mode, but he soon regretted it when he saw the woman's severed hand. He felt a cramp in his stomach. The man set the hand in the correct position and told him to begin healing. Juyan forced himself. That wound was so gruesome that even the wind seemed to shiver. He wasn't sure if his C-grade skills could heal it completely. But how can you know without trying? So he activated the light of recovery. After serving the clients, Juyan lay on the bed in his room as if half of his soul had left. The money was good, but the skill had to be used 3 times, which drained him completely. If not for the elemental ring, this wouldn't have been possible. But what troubled him more was, how did the party lose so badly? There could only be one answer: the fields. Still, he was thankful. At least this job was better than that old job of rotting behind the counter. There, he had to deal with the miserly Karas who thought that by spending 1,000 won, they had a license to shout. Now, with this gig, he could retire his entire bloodline and live a comfortable life. Now that he had enough money to survive, the focus should be on earning SP so that he could level up. Then a tutorial quest popped up telling him that he needed to level up his sub-trade, especially passive income. This method was most important for earning SP and was also crucial for the growth of Trade Skill Master. Now, Juyan understood why all trades had levels. By leveling them up, their potential could be utilized further. It took 100 SP to raise passive income 1 level. His skill gave 10 SP every 24 hours. The funny thing was that if he spent 100 SP to level up his passive income, he would get 100 SP back as a quest completion reward. Basically, this was a win-win situation. On top of that, he would also unlock a new sub-trade. So now this was a no-brainer. He'd have to do this upgrade. After checking the SP, he found out that he had to wait for the next 3 days to accumulate all the points. In those 3 days, he decided to try some new skill combinations. Meanwhile, the room service staff served him the tasty food he had ordered. Seeing the food arranged in front of him, He started eating, and at the same time, started watching videos of other unique trade users. He specifically focused on S grade and above skills, which were now almost only found in legends. It was exciting to copy these skills, but the truth was that these skills disappeared after midnight. The solution to this was to record all those videos on his phone so he could watch them again and again. He now organized videos into playlists, deciding which skills to use now and which later. Body hardening, teleportation, one after another. After several hours of binge watching, he wiped his face and the table, his stomach puffing up like a helium balloon. As if he would burst any moment, he was happy because he had secured his future. He registered himself as a healer in the user association.